Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Ben, head coach.
And I'm Anya, international marathon runner, and we're proud to be the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide.
We'll be bringing insightful conversation with truly inspirational guests, as well as running tips and tricks for runners of all abilities.
Today on the podcast, we spoke to the incredible Georgia Bell, who had ran as a child and even went to university to pursue her career in athletics. But after struggling with injury, she retired in her 20s. Watching the last Olympic cycle from her sofa at home, she then decided she was going to work her butt off to try and get to the Paris Olympics this year. She started the season unsponsored with a full-time job, but went on to get sponsored by Nike to quit her job and get a bronze medal in the 1500 meters, which was also her PB and the British record. This episode is so inspiring, so amazing, and testament to her hard work and dedication. You're going to love it.
Hey Georgia, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We love to ask everyone the same question, which is, where did your running journey, or what got you into moving your body back on day one?
Yeah, so I think when I think about running, it probably started at sports day. That's my first memories of kind of running and the feeling of winning a race and what that feels like. So probably at 10 years old, around that age. And I just remember competing at Chiswick House by my local school and beating all the boys and it feeling really good.
And was that just like natural talent, or had you played like sport as a kid, or like what got you so good at the age of 10?
I think I was just a sporty kid. Like, I think kids that do one sport usually do more than one. Like, they'll jump in with a few. So I wasn't on like a rigorous training plan at 10, but I was, just doing lots of sports and I really enjoyed it. And
did you have like older brothers, or do a lot of sport with your dad, or what kind of like got you strong without being explicitly training?
I think I'm one of 3 girls, and we all were just kind of running around doing sports growing up, but I didn't have a particularly like sporty family. I didn't come from parents who were particularly sporty, but they loved sport. And I think one of the things I've got from them is just like real passion for sport. Like, when we're not doing sport ourselves, we're watching it. And I think that kind of just trickled down to like, it was always going to be part of the weekends and activities and things like that.
And how did it go from being successful at sports day to, I guess, a long roller coaster thereafter? But what came next?
So I think off the back of sports day, one of the parents grabbed my mum and said, she's pretty good, like, let's get her into a club. So I started going into the UK club system, where there's like Tuesday, Thursday training and then a race on a Saturday. So my local club at the time was Ealing, Southall, Middlesex. So just became a part of that. And even to this day, I'm still part of the club with Belgrave Harriers and Battersea. And that's just a really easy way to get kind of consistent sociable training in.
So what distance were you doing then?
So I was a kid, a lot of cross country, which, is not my favourite, but I think it is good for kind of foundation. And then I did my first track race, the 800 metres, when I was 10 years old.
Oh my God. So you always thought track's for me. I'll be doing track.
I preferred it. Like, I like that the pain is over a bit quicker than cross country. And yeah, I just think it's really fun. Yeah.
Amazing. And then at what point did you think, I could be really good at this, or I could take this to the next level and really compete? It's
a weird feeling when you kind of feel like you're winning races when you're young, because you're obviously not fully, the frontal lobe's not there, you're not mentally fully developed yet, but you just kind of grow up with this feeling of like, this is something I enjoy, comes naturally. So I think I just kind of had an expectation on myself that I would end up as a runner one day. I was known as the runner, like, because I was one of 3 girls. It's like, oh, which one are you? Oh, you're the runner. And at school, that kind of thing, I was the runner. So it was just kind of a bit of an expectation. And so I'm sure we'll get into it. But later in life, when I had to come to the realization that wasn't going to happen and I was no longer the runner or good at running, it was kind of hard to deal with. But I think, just from early ages, winning races, you start to kind of think, maybe this is something that I can do and could be good at.
And that's what took you to the US to basically pursue racing and university at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. So I continued to run all through my teens and won kind of national races, and that kind of puts you on the radar of scouts that are looking to bring over athletes from the UK to go to the US on track scholarships. And yeah, I got to 21 and was like not ready to go into the working world and be an adult. So I was like, what can I do? Had a few offers from universities in America and yeah, went to go explore being on a track scholarship out there, which was really great. Like, it is an amazing opportunity to be able to go. But running didn't really work out for me while I was out there.
And that was injuries?
Yes, just injuries. I just was there for 2 years, had 2 stress fractures, was in a boot, was in the crutches, just like never ran faster than I did in the UK. So I kind of went with this big dream, the American dream. And I got so much out of it, but running, I kind of thought it would take me to the next step of being a professional athlete. And I actually graduated and kind of realized that that wasn't really going to be an option. I didn't have any offers from teams of professional groups to join. And so it was just like, okay, I guess I've got to kind of go into the working world now and kind of park the dream of being an athlete.
How did that feel?
Bad. Yeah, it was tough. Like, I had gone from kind of doing really well as a junior and thinking, as we just said, like, this is something that I was good at and I would always grow up doing. And then it had been progressively getting worse over the years that I was out there. And so when I did finish, I kind of knew, so when I did my final race at the final collegiate race, it was kind of an understanding that this is the last time I'll ever race on a track. Like, I'll never step on a track again.
You really think that?
Yeah, like, I was just like, there's no way I can keep doing this. Like, I'm 23 now. Like, I kind of have to work out what I'm doing with my life. And yeah, it was a little bit of an identity crisis, I would say, because I was just like,
the runner.
Yeah, the runner, but now I'm not a runner, and like, what am I gonna do? So I went in to get my first corporate job, and yeah, I don't think I went for a run for like a year or something. Really? I just completely just needed a break from it. So there was a little bit of relief actually to an extent, like, okay, I can take this pressure off myself and just kind of explore who I am. But I think very quickly I was like, no, I still feel like I am the runner, and like I miss that and want to do that.
And so what was this job?
So I worked in software sales in San Francisco. So I was out in California for university at Berkeley, and then I moved across to the Bay Area and started working in software sales out there, which I did really love. It was a great job, and I did it up until recently when I quit after Paris. So I was working in this industry of cybersecurity software, which, yeah, it was really fun, really interesting, completely different world, obviously away from running.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really loved it.
And so you didn't run for a year after you left uni.
Yeah.
What got you to go on your next run?
I think just socially, like, I started working in an office with some people who had previously been athletes, and they were just like, oh, on Saturday morning, we're going to do a Golden Gate Bridge run. Do you want to come? I was like, oh yeah, I used to be an athlete. I'm sure I can like dip my toes and doing a fun run. And then gradually it just became social. And then once I started doing a bit more consistently, kind of fitness came back gradually. And yeah.
Is that when you hopped on a bike instead?
I didn't hop on a bike until a few years later when I was back in the UK. That was a lockdown thing, I think, like a lot of people. Yeah. I like got a bike in lockdown and started cycling because wasn't too much else you could do during that period.
So how long ago was it that you kind of did this run, Golden Gate Bridge, and started the return? Yeah,
I think the return at that point just felt like I should get back into running just because it's something I enjoy and something, you know, that is good for you. I didn't think at any point it would lead me to be competitive and running again. It was more just like, you know, you don't need to run always at such an elite level. You can just do it for enjoyment. It was only like after COVID that I started to reach out to my old coach, Trevor Painter, who I'm coached by now. I'd just seen that he had coached Keely Hodgkinson, who's now my training partner, but had got her to get a silver in Tokyo. And I just thought that was obviously incredible. And I just kind of thought, I want to follow a plan again. You guys will know with Runna, like people love the consistency. They want to stay accountable. Like it is really good for just like having someone that you can go to or something to follow, something to put your trust in. And I knew he was obviously doing great things. I'd never thought at any point, you know, he would get me to the Olympics, but I just thought, been coached by him before, really enjoyed it, just want a plan to follow it and trust in him. And so that's when I started following the plan. And after about a year into that, I really started to see the difference. And that's when I started to enter elite racing again.
And do you think the difference really was that when you went out to America, you had all this pressure, like it had been your identity through school and you need to be amazing to build a career for yourself, and that pressure was so different to then you're actually doing this for you again.
Yeah.
And that's what maybe led to you building up this fitness moving in the right direction again.
I think it was just like a mixture of like injuries and trying. I don't think I was mature enough back then as well to kind of deal with it properly, and kind of having setbacks really, I just struggled with it. Whereas yeah, as you get older, you get a bit more mature and you understand, you know, that is just part of it. Like you can get through it. But for me, I just thought, well, if it hasn't happened now, then it will never happen. And maybe I just kind of had lost my love for it a little bit. And so I think bringing a refreshed outlook to it, like taking up the cycling was something new. It was a way that I could be competitive and push my fitness in something that was very novel to me. And then also just kind of, finding a training plan, getting back into it. That was a way to focus myself rather than, being all over the place.
When you got back running again, was there a part of running which you realised you'd been missing, or what kept you running again when you restarted? Yeah,
like running is just, and people might disagree with me, but I just think it feels very natural. Like you can just throw on your shoes wherever you are and just go for a run, listen to a podcast, listen to some music. Like you don't need, it's not a very high level for entry, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like you don't need to be part of a club to be able to access a court. You don't need to have a bike, which is expensive, and go on routes. Like you can just go for a run. And so I liked that part of it. And then I was very quickly realizing that I still had a bit of that competitiveness in me. Like I wasn't just content anymore just going for a run. Like I actually wanted to do a session and see how fast I could run 2 miles in, just, you know, things like that. It's like, why do I care about that? I was like, I guess I still want to push and see what I can achieve.
And has the return been without setbacks, or have you had injuries and you're just better at dealing with them?
There's always setbacks. Like this year, for example, like there were various different things that happened that you just they're not ideal in any way. So
what was like the worst one?
So in Rome at European Championships, I went into that championships being like, I honestly feel like I'm in the shape of my life. I feel like I'm going to do really well here. In the first heat, a girl spiked my Achilles and ripped my shoe and literally split my Achilles open. Not the tendon, luckily, but all the skin. And it was so painful to put weight on it. Like she went down, loads of people went down. I managed to stay on my feet and get through to qualify. But straight after the race, there was lots of tears. There was lots of blood. We were seeing all the medical tents, and you know, I couldn't even put a weight on it. I was like, how on earth am I going to run this final? Like, and the rest of the season, like it's an Olympic year. I don't know what's going to happen. And we managed to just calm me down, get the medical attention that I needed. And then I was just being guided really well and just went into that race with the right mindset, saying I can take a break after this race, but let's just get this race done. And I got a silver. So I'm so happy that I did that. But yeah, constantly it's just like things pop up. Like you couldn't have predicted that. That girl probably couldn't do that again if she tried. Like it was just freak accidents.
Yeah.
And that is just racing. And it's kind of good for your perspective to know that things are going to go wrong, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Like it's just about management and keeping calm.
And so when that happened, it was back of your mind, it's an Olympic year.
Yeah.
How were you feeling going into the Olympics? What was your expectations? Like what were your what were your feelings going into the Olympics this year?
Going into the Olympics, I think that the big thing was the Olympic trials. So obviously the UK is so competitive as a country. You have to make it to the Olympics. There's only 3 spots per event. And I knew that going into Olympic trials, there were 5, 6, 7 of us that were capable of doing it. So someone's going to be disappointed. So it was almost like at the Olympic trials, like making it to the Olympics was such a huge achievement that I just felt like there was no pressure on me at all. Like, and that was really helpful for Paris because it's just so nice feeling in great shape. But at the same time, no one's really talking about you or expecting much from you. Like, it's a whole different pressure to be the hunted, you know what I mean, rather than the hunter. Like, it's fun being the person that can be the underdog or make an upset, which is kind of the position I went in on. So going into Paris, I was just super positive, super calm, just soaking it all up. And I hope I keep that in the future because I think it really is the best way to race, like just being so hungry for the race, but not putting any expectations on yourself, just like the belief.
And so did you believe, so obviously you went on to win a medal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you on the start line believe that that was possible?
Yeah, I fully believed, like the whole time in Paris, I really truly believed in my heart that I could win a medal, which like might have seemed really delusional on paper to lots of people, but it really didn't for our team, for Trev and Jen. I'd watched Keely, my teammate, get a gold medal out there. That gives you such a huge boost. And I just really felt like everything that had happened, this feeling from when I was younger, like really innately feeling like I was good at running, but then life happened and I dropped out and I never thought that I would make it there. So the fact that I was there on the start line, I was also born in Paris 30 years prior.
No way.
Yeah. So I was just really telling myself, like, I was like, I'm born for this. Like, it was meant to be.
Do you remember
just
the
go
run?
for it.
Like, do you remember your feelings throughout the run? Like,
through the race?
Or like how it went? Or like, is it a blur?
It is a blur. And I remember like afterwards when I was in the Uber from the stadium, like after the podium, drug testing, everything like that, going to meet friends and family, like I was like, I really want to see the race because it goes so quickly. Like I was like, I actually want to watch it back. But I do remember like it going off and it being fast. Like it was really fast. Like it's the fastest Olympics. Like it was an Olympic record, the fastest 1500 meters they've ever had in history. So I remember the first lap going off and just being like, oh my God, this is quick. But I do just remember like being in pain, but being like, I'm still here. And like, I thought if I was there with 100 meters to go, that I would do it. And there were 4 of us at 100 meters to go. And I was 4th. But I was like, I'll not finish 4th. Like, I just really, really dug deep to give it everything. And yeah, luckily got a medal.
Yeah.
Was that the best moment of your life?
It was so crazy. Like, the feeling of like visualizing so much going to the Olympics from probably like the age of 10, you know, or whenever you're like, one day I'll make it to the Olympics. And then you're actually there and crossing the line. I just remember like there's a photo of me that went around with like my hands on my head, like looking up at the board because I knew I'd got a medal, but the time was crazy. Like it was really fast time, it was a British record. And just, completely freaking out about that and then literally just collapsing on the track because I was so tired and I just stayed there for a bit.
It was so amazing to watch. I love your self-belief so much, and so much of running is like believing you can do it. Yeah. Because if you don't believe you could do it, you won't do it. Almost.
Totally.
Where do you think you've got that mindset from?
I think it's something that, you know, it has to be, well, for me, it had to be developed. Like I went through phases of being really nervous for races. I went through phases of really not believing I was good and doubting myself. And ultimately I quit because I never thought I'd be good enough. So I've definitely had those phases where I didn't have the belief. But I just think like if you are doing everything right, like all the training, all the dedication that it takes to get there, then standing on the start line, believing that you can do it, like that is the difference between the medals. I mean, the difference at the top between getting a medal, it comes down to a dip, like we're talking about the points of a second. And it's those people who are believing that they're going to do it that find a way versus the people that have like a small bit of self-doubt. So yeah, it's something that I've had to work on, but now I just feel like life's too short, and if I'm lining up and I've done all the work, I believe I can do it. Yeah.
I think it's, I wanted to obviously speak to you, a girl of 3 sisters as well, like girls in sport. But I think there's people like Noah Lyles that can stand on the start line and be like, I'm going to win, like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, I'm going to win. If girls say that, or like if girls believe in themselves, people don't believe in them as much. I feel like people say that, oh, they're cocky, or I don't know. What do you think needs to be done earlier on to get girls believing in themselves, get girls into sports? Because so many girls just say, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, I know. It's weird that you say that. And like, yeah, it is. It would not be, it is kind of just the society that we live in, that if girls did that, it would be seen like, oh, just calm down, like don't believe in yourself that much, or don't say it. I actually remember I did a race in France earlier this year and I won, and I was like to the camera at the end, I went like, yeah. And I like felt so guilty about that afterwards. And I was like, why should I feel guilty about that? Like, it's so embedded into me that you kind of shouldn't celebrate when you've had some success. It's a weird thing. But I think it's just all about having people believe in you. And I've been really lucky to have that this whole season, of having parents that believe in me, like my now husband, who really believed in me, the coaches, like I really trust their opinion. And when they tell me I can do something, like I believe it. And so I think, going back to starting that from a really early age with girls, if you just tell them, like support them, believe in them, that goes a really long way, because then they're standing on that start line and they'll have more confidence than if you don't.
I think it's also having role models they can look up to, and I'm sure people will look up to both of you as inspirational women that do amazing things. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I totally believe that. And I think one of the things that would also be so helpful is in my training group, the coaching staff, it's like Trevor Painter is the main coach, but then his wife, Jenny Meadows, who was an athlete herself, they're a duo. So like she's kind of the mentor side of it. So actually being able to see physically a female leader in the group is huge. Like, it makes me feel more comfortable. It makes a bit more of a family element. And also, like, I've seen the success, so I'm like, oh, if she's done it, I can do it. So I think getting more female coaches in the sport would also be huge, just from a young age, to have people to look up to. But yeah, obviously I remember watching people in the Olympics and being like, I want to be like that one day. Like Kelly Holmes, I remember that race so well when she did the double gold. And that really instilled in me like what it would mean to go to the Olympics and win for Great Britain.
You've got such a great group of girls that you train with. Like, if I think of like a girls group, I think of yours.
Yeah.
What do you think chasing guys round, because you said you did that as a child,
like,
what's the importance of training with people better than you, training with people like you?
Yeah
It
is such a privilege if you can train with people better than you, like that you will get faster. Like the worst case scenario is that you're the best in the group, I think. And what's good about our team is there's loads of really good people, but people shine on different sessions. Like, there's one person on the team that's really good at hills. There's one person in the team that's really good at tempo. There's one person in the team that will destroy you on the track. Like, everyone gets humbled in different ways. What are you the
best in the team at?
Maybe some of the hills. Like, I'm quite good at hills, but then really struggle on some of the endurance stuff. Like, get dropped very quickly on that. So it's good. So it just means that everyone's got respect for one another, and no one person is better than the other. Like, everyone is pushing each other to their limits. And I think you do enough of those sessions, that's where you'll really be good on the world stage. So yeah, try and find people that are better than you. So boys can be awesome for that for girls. Like, if you can get into those club training groups and try and chase down the boys, perfect.
Yeah.
I guess since the Olympics, well, in the run up to the Olympics, you're still working full time?
Yeah, so I took a sabbatical after, I took a sabbatical from May 1st. So laptop got slammed shut from them.
And that was with the expectations you'd go back to work after the Olympics?
Yeah, the expectation to go back to work. So I took it to the boss and said, look, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Olympics, but I definitely won't unless I go all in for a bit, because it's just like all of the things that you have to do with physio appointments, strength and conditioning, sleep, like things like that you just simply have to do as an athlete to be Olympic level.
And so they gave you a sabbatical.
Yes.
And then did you ever come back from it?
I didn't. They had a sweepstake at work apparently about whether I was going to come back or not. But I remember my boss saying to me, like, even if you get an Olympic medal, like, we really want you to come back. And I remember when he said that, I was just like, I'm not going to get an Olympic medal, so I'll see you in September, guys.
Okay.
And then obviously once I did, life's changed.
How has life changed?
Well, it's allowed me to go full time with running. So no longer have to juggle both a corporate job and training.
And that's because income has changed.
Yeah.
Now you're sponsored by Nike.
Yes.
And are they your presumably main income now?
Yes.
Yeah.
But also just kind of, once you get an Olympic medal, you'll get things like, like even things like just today or, appearance fees or talks, things like that. And so you just then are suddenly in a position to do it full time. So I actually feel really happy that I had a period of doing both, because now I really appreciate what it's like to just have time back in the day. Because it was pretty hectic for a few years there trying to juggle both.
And is there any part of you where you now feel more pressure on your running because it's your income, your whole self, and you don't have work and running?
Not really, but like while I was running this past year, I think that did contribute to the feeling of like, I've got nothing to lose here. Like, let's go for it. I'm not financially reliant on it. I'm just doing it because I love it. It's going so well. Like, let's go. But I don't feel from a financial side the pressure, but I think this year it will change. That whole feeling of being the underdog this past year, which has been so fun. That's just not the case anymore. Like once you get an Olympic medal, you're not the underdog. You're the person that people are like trying to notice, and there's a new expectation on you. So it's going to be interesting to navigate. But I'm looking forward to it.
And you've been pretty busy, not only securing big contracts with Nike, but since the Olympics, you've got married.
I have, I have.
That you called yourself the hunter earlier, and now you're Georgia Hunter.
That's true. Like Jen is like, well, you'll always be the hunter because you are now a hunter. But I got married in October, so it was nice. I think I was saying earlier, like most people go to the Olympics and the Olympic dip is a very real thing. Like lots of athletes talk about it. But I literally went straight from the Olympics to planning a wedding. We planned it in 3 months. So it was a lot of organisation and basically took up all my time. And it went really well. So we're really happy. And it was just a really busy summer.
Good. How important has your partner's support been? Has he always believed in you? How was it seeing him at the end of your race? You got the British record.
He's been amazing. George, it's funny because when we met, like I wasn't even running. I was about 10 kg overweight from what I am now. We were just kind of in London, like going for drinks and dinner as our early dates. And now it's like going to bed at 9 p.m, like, and waking up to race the next day. So we've evolved a lot as a couple, I guess. But he has always been so supportive, not just kind of telling me I can do it, but like he'll come down to the track with me to time my session. Or like the other day I had 400 meter reps and I was really struggling. So he jumped in and did like 200 meters of them just to give me a bit of help. So I feel really lucky. He's very supportive.
So he must be pretty speedy to be able to jump in for 200.
Yeah, he's good. We're trying to work out what the ultimate like race between us would be. He's more like a sprinter. Like he leaves me for dead on 200 meters, but like anything longer than that, like he's kind of a bigger guy, so like it's tougher for him. So we think maybe like 300 meters would be a close race. So maybe in South Africa next camp we're gonna do a head-to-head.
So does he come on your training camps with you?
Yeah, he's come on a few, and he does jump in some of the sessions. He usually can't do all of them, so it's quite good. He's like, wow, you guys actually train hard. So
I wonder where the sweet spot race between you two would be.
Oh my gosh.
Like, are we thinking like 10k, like 7k?
Probably like...
I think you'd have me over half the marathon.
No, you'd definitely have me over half, Anya. Like you would leave me.
So what's your 5k time now?
15:34.
Okay, so that takes you down.
Yeah.
So then, would you ever race a 10k?
I have done it. I did the Telford 10k last year and did a 32:20 something.
Okay, so you've got it there. Would you ever race longer than 10K?
I would potentially, maybe not like while I'm a professional athlete, but maybe at some point in the future.
Okay. So we're thinking maybe like a 10 miler could be an interesting.
Yeah, maybe that would be.
Maybe one day when yeah.
and would you like? It's incredible how strong you are at like those longer distances. Like, would you ever be thinking as like in the next 10 years? Like, what's coming next? Would you ever want to move into longer distances or even a marathon or anything like that?
I don't know. The marathon, like, I have so much respect for you guys. Like, I just really like that my race and pain is over in 4 minutes and you're like going for hours and hours. It just seems crazy. But I mean, maybe some stuff on the roads. I know that's kind of the natural progression for what a lot of track athletes do. But I actually feel like I'm more tempted by the triathlon side of it. I dabbled with it a little bit and I think I gained a lot of endurance strength from it.
Yeah.
But that kind of, I think that's just a bit more exciting than the marathon. The marathon just seems really tough, guys.
Well, everyone have to stay tuned and follow whatever happens next in the next 10 years. We're going to segue off to Steph for our coaching tip of the week.
My top tip today is on motivation. If you're really struggling to get motivated to do your training and tick the sessions off, then find a purpose or a goal to give you that drive. This could be heading down to a local park run, a marathon, a local 5K, or simply helping pace a friend for one of their big races. This will give some purpose to your training and give you that reason to dig deeper on those harder runs.
Thank you very much for that, Steph. I'm going to bring us in with our discussion for this week, sent in from one of our runners. Okay, so everyone received their Strava Wrapped this week. So I wanted to ask what's more impressive, logging a huge number of miles in a year or smashing PBs in fewer high-quality runs?
Oh, I think that's a great question. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. I think it depends also what our like goals in life are. Like some people want to be fast. Some people might want loads of kudos. Some people might want to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think like for me, the most important thing is to be happy. And then therefore I want to do fun things, fun races, fun workouts, and also cross train and have enough time for seeing my friends and balance. And that's probably not going to lead to like 100 miles a week every week because I'd get injured and I don't have time for it. But if running 100k, 100 miles a week is the thing that makes you happy, then do that. So I think there's very much no right or wrong. I would imagine that for a lot of people, if you are getting your balance right and you're happy, it will probably lead to more PBs. And that's almost a little bit of your story, which is that like you've been happy with your training and it's led to amazing results. So yeah, I would say get the balance right of whatever that looks for you, and that will lead to success in whatever success means.
Yeah. Agree. It's all about what you're going for, I guess. I think if you're trying to improve as a runner and get faster, I think it is important to like push yourself out of your comfort zone. So rather than just doing lots of easy runs, like signing up for a race in a few months that, you know, at the time might seem a bit scary, but then you're training for it and you'll improve, and that's how you get quicker. Like that's what I do say to my friends who aren't runners. You know, they say, well, I want to get quicker. It's like, okay, you have to make sure that you are doing some sessions in a week where you are pushing yourself a little bit, not just necessarily easy runs. So yeah, all of it's impressive though. I haven't really looked at my Strava Wrapped yet. I need to do a deep dive
on Strava?
I put it all on Strava, but I don't make all of it public. Okay. So I'll do the odd thing that's like public, but the secret sauce with the track sessions, I'll keep those private.
Well, I think almost looking back at like our years, Anya, is that we're probably not role models, and we've probably done too many events. We've been a bit like traveling the world, doing all these amazing things, which almost this job brings us. But I think for me anyway, in my running, I think it would be more successful to do less and to do them
100%.
Do it better, and like really like focus towards training properly, racing, recovering, and doing that again. But again, whatever makes people happy, right?
Yeah, that's my plan for early next year. A bit less.
Well, Georgia, we're going to have some funny this or that. So hopefully they're funny. Thinking about your cross training, your duathlon, maybe a future triathlon one day, would you rather complete a duathlon where you have to do one of the legs blindfolded? You can have a guide.
Oh my God.
Or you do a triathlon, but you have one arm tied behind your back. So you can only use one arm for your swim in the triathlon, or pick a leg in a duathlon and you're blind.
I would probably have to go blindfolded because the swim is so traumatic to me. I hate swimming so much. It's definitely the worst discipline that I would rather go blindfolded. I can have someone running with me. Okay, yeah.
So would you have a blind run, not a blind cycle?
A blind cycle, I think, would be extreme.
Unless we put you on a tandem bike, and then it might be.
Oh,
Because I
then
think on a tandem bike, that would be.
oh, then that's perfect. I don't need to worry about bike handling or anything.
Sit at the back and
Or
don't
you-
need the
Or
pedal.
you could have like a little sidecar with the steering, and then you just pedal.
Yeah, okay. So if it's a tandem, I'd go blindfold on the bike. Then I can just, be pumping out watts and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You'd
That
almost
sounds
be like
good.
one of the little cyclists on the yachts who have to like move
Yeah.
the sails across.
The cycles.
Cycles,
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Cycles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay,
They
but-
could easily be blindfolded.
Yeah, so you're definitely not going anywhere near one arm swimming.
No way.
And
Two
you're
arm
right.
swimming is hard enough.
Yeah.
One arm swimming is
I
that would
wouldn't-
take me.
yeah.
I don't know how long that would take.
What about you?
I'm already bad at swimming. I need both arms.
But you know what I thought? If after our trip to Hawaii, doing a little bit of snorkeling and flippers, I
Ooh.
think if triathlons allowed flippers, that would be my thing.
Yeah.
I think I would 2-footed dolphin swim a triathlon, and then I wouldn't even need an arm.
One arm.
But I do think that's probably cheating. So I'm also going with you. Blind tandem
Yeah.
cycling.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. Would you rather you always have the perfect race day conditions, but you never get a PB again, or every time you do a race, it's grim,
Yeah.
but you always win?
Definitely always win.
Always win.
Yeah. To be honest, growing up racing in England, it's usually always grim. Like pretty much like British Olympic trials this year was in June. It was so horrible. It was pouring rain, windy. Like you're just so used to growing up racing like that. And PBs and stuff are really cool. Like it's so cool to see how you improve over the years, but there's no feeling like winning. That never goes out of style.
Nice.
Love that.
Nice. Okay, last one. Would you rather run your next race in a wedding dress or in your next triathlon, you
Yeah.
have to cycle in a full head-to-toe suit?
So that would be doing the podium 5K and Batty in my wedding dress, which I do have hanging around. So technically I could do that. Or
A non-aero, very flappy suit.
do I get cleats?
Yeah, but they're screwed onto the base of your suit shoes.
Okay.
So probably like heels and like a cleat on the bottom. A bit like the Adidas shoes you suggested. for
Yeah,
Christmas.
there's the Adidas Velo cycle, and then normal Adidas shoes, like, but you can fit cleats in the bottom.
I think
Very
I'd go the cycle in a suit. So less, it's not great for aerodynamic, but my wedding dress had a big train at the back.
Oh, but that could be good for tripping up anyone who's coming up behind. No,
But also
Achilles are safe.
think of the drag. Oh, Achilles are safe.
Your Achilles
Yeah.
will be fine.
But no, I think I'd go for the bike.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Anya?
No, definitely a full suit. I was going to ask, did you run on your wedding day?
I actually woke up with the intention of doing it.
Yeah.
And then it was raining, so I was like, I can't be dealing with
Yeah.
the mess with the hair.
No.
It was absolutely pouring rain in the morning when I woke up, and then it all came out sunshine for the afternoon. So I woke up with good intentions, but then I was very easily deterred.
Where did you get married?
In Sussex.
Nice.
So
Nice. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Our final question we like to ask everyone: if you could design your dream race, how far would it be? Where would it be? What food or drink do you get at the finish line? And who's presenting the award?
Oh my gosh, so much to think about. Dream race. So I think this event would be my dream event. You can do it as a kid, you can't do it as an adult, but the 1200 meters, so 3 laps of the track,
Okay.
somewhere in between the 800 and the 1500.
But you're allowing adults to do this race?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, allowing adults. So like if I could do that event today, that would be my dream.
And where is it?
I think you'd want to do it somewhere really cool, like somewhere in Europe, like in summer, but like make it at night so it's not too hot. So like south of France, maybe somewhere like that.
Is it an elite race or is it like mass participation?
Ooh, if it's on the track, I think it has to be.
Elite.
Yeah, we can't have thousands and thousands of people on the track. So I think it would have to be have to be some kind of level of elite. And I think that's fun when the elites do a bit of an event that they don't do often. And yeah, we would have, what would we have at the end? If we're in the south of France, probably some nice wine at the end.
Nice.
Yeah. Some nice wine. And
who's presenting? Who's presenting the award?
Presenting? Does it have to be a runner?
No, anyone.
Dead or alive.
Oh, wow. Who's presenting
as
the
silly as you
award? That's a tough one. I feel like it would be fun to have like a pop star or something. You know how like they had Snoop Dogg at
that was
US
so
trials.
ridiculous.
So ridiculous. But I feel like it's kind of fun to bring that energy.
I was thinking about him at the Olympics.
Yeah.
He was sat watching the equestrian, like dressed as a horse rider, Snoop Dogg.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got like paid by US like Olympics to like go and promote it, and I think that's what's like obviously it's serious, we take it seriously, but I do think it's fun when you like brings things like that in.
So you're getting Taylor Swift to do a brand deal to promote your South of France.
Yeah, something like that. Like she does a concert and then
are you running with the concert going on, or that's like the celebration?
That's like the end, you know, like closing ceremony
with
your wine. Yeah, something like that.
Amazing.
So yeah, whoever the pop star of the moment is, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor, whoever it needs to be, I think that would be fun.
Wow, there we are. What a race.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that elite with wine, but
well, no, that was incredible, Alex. Super amazing to learn all about your amazing journey, and we cannot wait to see where you go next.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Runna. If you want to train for any goal, download the app today, and don't forget you can use the code Runna Podcast for a 2-week free trial.
Whether you enjoyed the episode or not, please like, share, follow, subscribe, do all of that nonsense, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Wow, you made it all the way to the end of the podcast. And so for all of our loyal listeners, we have a special 15% off all of our Runna merchandise. If you want to look as cool as Anya, then go and use the code MyFastSocks for 15% off all of our Runna merchandise. And thank you again for listening.